In first cut. Golly!
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your Day 2 recap for this week's Ryder Cup. We're going to go through every single matchup of the day, and joining me to break it all down, it's Greg DuCharme. Greg, welcome. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you too, Rick. I know yesterday we had a little conversation about how this could get close and how it could get interesting. There was some heat in the afternoon, and we saw some great emotion, which was classic Ryder Cup. But I think all in all, this thing's been decided.
Yeah, Jacob and I were talking before we went hot that in both sessions on Saturday, through like 12 or 13 holes, you were formulating a path for Europe. In the morning session, you're thinking, okay, if they get 3 here, then maybe they get another 2.5 in the afternoon and close the gap. And things just kind of failed to formulate in that way. And it is a sizable lead now for the Americans heading into Sunday singles, officially 11-5.
And the largest comeback ever, the one in Medina, was 10-6.
Right.
You know what that took, right? Kyle likes to talk about how everything had to go right for Europe to close that deal. And today it didn't go that way. So I look at this, I don't see the pathway. I don't see the players for Europe. I don't see enough of them who can close the deal. You're talking about 3.5 points out of 12 for the U.S. to win the Cup. And that could happen early tomorrow.
It certainly could. You and I sat here last night and tried to speculate what Captain Padraig Harrington was going to do with his European team. And when we got off air and the dust settled and we got the pairings for this morning, Saturday morning, there was a notable absence. It was Rory McIlroy, who failed to participate in the first session of his career, Greg. And I imagine that decision also comes from Rory McIlroy as well. I feel like Padraig Harrington has to get Rory McIlroy's blessing, or Rory says, hey, you know what? Sit me down. Let me rest. Let's try something else before something like that actually happens.
You don't know how that happens. I mean, Rory at the beginning of the week was a guy I thought could go, one of the rare guys, one of 2 guys who could go 0-5, because typically if you lose that many matches, you're going to get sat. But the way that Rory lost his first 2, in the first match with Poulter, he was out early on Friday. That was done in the first 5 holes. So right away you're done, and then you get no life. And then in the afternoon, he's unable to secure a point as well. And also it doesn't look great. So you wonder, you're in a situation on Saturday morning and you need a point. And it's clear that Rory wasn't reliable. Rory wasn't your guy. The hard thing is, who is Matt Fitzpatrick and Lee Westwood such a formidable pair that you have to play them over Rory? I understand the first 3. I actually like the first 3. I like going out with Rahm and Garcia is the obvious one. Then you go Casey, Hatton, and you saw some good play out of them. So I totally understand that. I think that's a formidable second match, and you have a good chance of getting blue on the board early. Hovland Wiesberger was an interesting one. And if Rory McIlroy was in the last group, I could see that third game. But I would have liked to see Rory with Hovland in that case, and maybe you do something else instead of Westwood and Fitzpatrick, because Westwood and Fitzpatrick they just brought no energy. Yeah. And they kept it close. I mean, it went 17 holes, but it just wasn't not enough.
Yeah, let's talk through some of these. So here we go. Match number 1 out on Saturday morning. Brooks Koepka and Daniel Berger versus Jon Rahm and Sergio Garcia. This match had it all, Greg. First of all, the Americans go out and win each of the first 3 holes. They win 4 of the first 5. Then we get a little bit of a rules situation where Brooks Koepka is making threats at officials, and then Jon Rahm shows up and he asserts himself as the number 1 player. Sergio Garcia plays well coming down the stretch. When the dust settles, it's a 3-1 victory for the Europeans, and that's the hope, right? You get out, you get the first point of Saturday. It's now in theory 6-3 3, and maybe that's the hope. The Europeans would not go on to win any other match or gain any other points in the first session, but Rahm and Sergio continue to do their thing.
The rules thing, first of all, was it was kind of bizarre. What was I couldn't see
it
on
was hard
camera
to see on TV. Yes,
what the issue was.
and
I mean,
apparently
obviously
it was
it's in a bush, right?
a drainage. I don't want to call it a ditch, a drainage area that they seemed to be concerned about. I could not see what they were pointing at on television.
Clearly it's covered by grass, but they really felt strongly about it.
Very
you had
strongly.
Berger in there, and it seemed almost like they had Sergio's support, who was just, eating his popcorn, watching, getting a few chuckles out of it. But Koepka and Berger were relentless in that fight. So there must have been something. Look, I don't like I don't get where Koepka's coming from with the root thing 2 weeks ago. I don't understand where he's coming from with that, because it's a completely different situation. That's something that's underground. You don't get relief from a root. So I don't know. I don't know. The rules official and somebody on the air, I apologize, I forget who made the point. The rules officials don't care what happened 2 weeks ago.
Right.
They don't care if your wrist is hurt or not. It's what are the facts in front of us. And they clearly felt one way, both of them. And Berger and Koepka did not agree. But hey, Koepka had a great shot out of there too.
Yeah, he did. He ended up hitting a great shot. Everyone was very sure they were right. The rules official was very sure he was right. Brooks and Daniel were very sure they were right. So it was kind of a weird situation. I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think it played into the outcome of this match at all. I mean, Sergio and Rahm won. They won 8, 9, 12, 13, 16, and 17. During that stretch, the Americans only won a single hole. I think the cream ended up rising to the top here.
Yes, it did. They're clearly a buzzsaw of a team. Very, very wise to play them again in the afternoon. It's almost too obvious to miss, but Padraig Harrington did it, and that team is formidable, to say the least. And part of it is the iron shot Sergio Garcia hit, which is really the second priority here, was fantastic. It's so fun to watch that guy stripe it with his irons. And then watching Jon Rahm putt is just special. He's just proving to be the number one player in the world and perform that way, perform like it under this kind of pressure when your team is literally on your back. It's pretty cool to watch.
With the victory, Sergio Garcia becomes the winningest Ryder Cup player of all time, 24 career match victories. Match number 2, Dustin Johnson, Collin Morikawa win 2-1 over Paul Casey and Tyrrell Hatton. We saw one really good shot from Paul Casey where he holed out from 108 yards. That's really the most I've seen, the best bright spot I've seen from Paul Casey all week. But this Dustin Johnson, Collin Morikawa team has been phenomenal. Dustin Johnson has 4 points. He's going to be the only player on the American side to play in all 5 sessions. This has just been potentially the new great American Ryder Cup team here.
We'll see how long it lasts for. I mean,
DJ's the oldest.
DJ is 37, right? Yeah. DJ's had some interesting pairings throughout his career. I mean, he's been paired with Kuchar and Furyk way back, Spieth early on. He's had some really interesting groupings, and he hasn't really, aside from Koepka, had that bomber with him, where you would expect to put, some of the longer hitters with Dustin Johnson, and all of a sudden it's a really scary team. He's gotten a lot of more accurate, more plotters as partners. Morikawa is the essence of that, but Collin Morikawa has just been so impressive with the flat stick, and he has had his calmness has sucked the energy out of his opponent, and they never had a chance to really get it going. But the key to the match, this is a key for the entire U.S. team in this Ryder Cup, is the par 5 play. And again, Dustin Johnson and Morikawa win they win all 3 par 5s. And that's huge. And on the second 9, when you have a little bit of a run coming out of Casey and Hatton when they need it, I guess they have. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong. I'm getting my scores mixed up here. 15's a par 4. They won that hole. 16 they did not win, but they did win the first 2 par 5s on the first 9. But anyway, the par 5 scoring's been great for them.
Yeah, it really has. And that's across the board for the Americans. I don't have the updated stat, but the Europeans have won like 3 total holes on the par 5s or something like that. It's been absolutely wild stuff. Match number 3, Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth get the job done, 2 up over Victor Hovland and Bernd Wiesberger. This was a great example of 1 alternate shot and 2 match play, because there was a moment, I think on... Ooh, I'm going to get the whole number wrong. It might have been 10. I'll look it up. Where Victor and Burns had a putt to basically go, if they make that and the Americans miss, they go 4 up. It actually flips. They miss. The Americans make it. It goes, now they're just 2 up. And then that was kind of the momentum swing. The U.S. side wins 14, 15, 16. They close it out, winning 18 as an exclamation point. And Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth put another win in their partnerships column.
7 was it 7, Rick, where JT makes the par putt and he starts fist pumping and getting everybody into it, because they were 3 down.
Yeah,
JT made a putt at 7.
Right, yes.
I think that was
what I'm thinking of, yeah.
Right, and then all of a sudden they win 9 and 10 as well, and take control of the match. So JT is the emotional leader we talked about last night, and when you're 3 down and you make a par putt with that could just be for a half, for all you know, and you give that kind of energy, it sends a message, and it's hard to play against that. It changes there. All of a sudden when you're Victor Hovland and Bernd Wiesberger, these guys aren't going away, and we're in for a fight. And now all of a sudden, even though you're 3 up, you have a par putt that you have to make. You feel like you have to make it, and they didn't, and the rest is history. So it was nice to see JT and Jordan Spieth get one on the board. I think it was much needed for both of them. JT only had a half point, I believe. He got a half last night. So he only had a half coming in. And if those 2 get shut out, you're feeling a little down for yourself. So it was really nice for them to get a point.
Yeah, I was going to say Justin Thomas has not played up to his lofty standards this week, but he has been throughout that emotional leader that you are talking about. And we know how important that is at a Ryder Cup, and to get 1.5 points through the first 2 days is certainly worth something. It's worth about 1.5 points. Match number 4. This one made no sense to me. It is very easy to play Monday morning quarterback or Saturday afternoon quarterback. But when I saw this last night and saw that the Americans were obviously rolling out Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay, similar to what they did on Friday morning in the anchor match, that Padraig Harrington went with Lee Westwood and Matt Fitzpatrick, leaving Rory on the bench, Tommy Fleetwood on the bench, Shane Lowry on the bench, Ian Poulter on the bench, for a pairing that I saw no life out of on Friday morning. Lee Westwood putted like me out there, Greg, which is mostly you don't sniff the hole for the majority of your putts. This made no sense, and as expected, the Americans get it done. They win it 2-1.
The old guy, and excuse that language, but it's just the easiest way to decipher. The old guy that you play in that scenario is a guy who really brings the energy with the putter. So Poulter makes sense there, because he can be a spark plug, and he is a guy that could get a Matt Fitzpatrick going. And all of a sudden he says, okay, I feel like I get a chance. But when you have a guy who has the history of Lee Westwood with the putter, and he's clearly not in great form, and the rah-rah typical Ryder Cup that you have seen out of Lee Westwood isn't there. It's clearly not there. It's a mistake. I'm sorry. It's a mistake to play this group, because it's hard to find the life. You put you put one of those guys you mentioned who's on the bench, Shane Lowry, who's clearly fired up and ready to go. I know you want him for the afternoon, and I know you have a plan going in, but there's a time when you have lost the first 2 sessions 3-1 where you got to throw the kitchen sink at him and hope you can hang on in the afternoon. Because otherwise, what else do you have? You can't save it for singles. You can't save things when you're down 6-2. And I felt like this match was a little bit of Padraig saving guys for the afternoon, which I think has turned out to be a mistake.
3-1, 3-1, 3-1. That's how the first 3 sessions went at this year's Ryder Cup. That means it was 9-3 after Saturday morning's session. And Greg, we saw the pairings come out, and you're thinking, well, let's start doing the math. The Euros probably need all 4 in the afternoon, right? I mean, that's it. Maybe 3.5, maybe 3. You try to pull a miracle, but you probably need all 4 going into that afternoon session.
3.5 would have gotten you within shouting distance. Again, the idea here was win the day, and you lose you lose the morning. And again, that's the thing about Fitzpatrick and Westwood. Are those the guys that you really need in there to go win the day? You're going to have tough matches. You're not going to have an easy matchup. So where are you going to win the day? You got to throw you got to throw your hottest guys out there. Even if they're not hot, you got to throw the guys that you feel like can give you the energy spark that you really need. Anyway, coming into the afternoon, you're right, Rick, you need all 4. And the pairings that they gave us were good. These are strong pairs. Hatton and Lowry. That's a great leadoff pair. You know how much it means to Shane Lowry. He's played well. He didn't get the job done yesterday, but he played really well. And then you have Tyrrell Hatton in there, who also played great yesterday and also not bad this morning. So I like the Hatton. I like the Hatton start, and I like that being the first group because that can really give you some. And then you back that up with Sergio and Rahm, and you're in really good shape.
We will go through these match by match. We will talk through a preview of Sunday singles. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. How confident were the Americans leading into this afternoon 4-ball, Greg? Well, winning 9-3, Justin Thomas and Daniel Berger were shotgunning beers off the first tee. That's how confident. You know it's a big lead, and you're feeling yourself, and you're loving me some me when JT is throwing them back and spiking them off the first tee.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this. It's not my favorite look. It kind of said it's just asking for bulletin board material, right? They think this is over. And you lose 0-4, and that's a really bad look. Now, the afternoon goes quite well for you. You come away with 2 points, and you're happy. And so it's all in good fun. It's looked at as confidence, but it's definitely a risky play. And I get it. They're done for the day. And they've played some great golf, and so I get it. It's just not my favorite thing. I wouldn't want that if I'm captain.
Let's go through these matches. We'll start with the one that you mentioned because I think this is interesting. I want to go here first. Shane Lowry and Tyrrell Hatton get the job done. 1 up over Tony Finau and Harris English. This went the distance. This went to the final hole. But let's talk about the front 9 first because Shane Lowry was awesome for the Europeans, and Tyrrell Hatton was all over the map. In fact, he didn't even record a score on most holes. When he did, it was 5s and 4s. It was Shane Lowry that really kept the European side afloat through the first 9, and then we started to see a better version of Tyrrell Hatton coming down the stretch, but that was a true team effort for them to scratch out this 1 full point.
What do you make? 4? He made 4 birdies in the first 6 holes. He started birdie.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
And then birdied 6.
And then birdied 6. And then, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what he did.
It's phenomenal. But man, you're really up against it when you make birdie at the first 3 holes and you're 1 up. And what can we do? And now you're in it with Finau and English. These guys are really, really good. You know that, and you know how steady they are. It wasn't Harris English's best day. I think the wind was really tough for him. It looked like he had a hard time on the greens, putting in the wind, and he had a hard time with his speed control. But for Shane Lowry, he didn't. He was all over it. He loved those conditions, and he was a leader out there. He was a spark plug. He was great. It was great to watch. Other than the fact that my best bet has taken a real big hit with that Shane Lowry win. But I mean, talk about the finish to this match. This was like the best finish of the week, I think.
Easily. So they get to 18. Shane Lowry pulls his drive into a bunker. He can't go at the green. He has to play out to the fairway. And then that's the strategy, Greg. That's like saying, okay, let's not do anything stupid. What can I do to try to make a par here and play a little bit of defense for my partner? And he plays out to the fairway. He stuffs one close. He gives us the be the right number call. So he's got like 7 or 8 feet for par. And then he does kind of play defense for his partner because Hatton flies the green on his approach, can't really get it onto the green from the bunker. And then Lowry rolls in the putt for the full point. It was strategic in laying up. It was well executed. It was all around great match play strategy and execution for them.
You're one up, and you have a partner who's he had already missed the green, right? He missed the green to the left already. So you got a guy, and now consider you only need a half, and it's a really challenging hole, and it's a very unlikely birdie from the Americans. So you need to have the hole. So you got to make 4. And you have one guy who's a really good bunker player who has hit some ridiculous short shots. And some of the shots Hatton has hit this week with the spin has been ridiculous. Like 30-yard shots, spinning back, zipping back, nearly going in. It's been cool. But you feel like once you knock it on the green and you have a par putt, it's a 2-on-1 fast break. And you're gonna have the hole. You just need either Hatton to get up and down from the bunker or Lowry to make a putt. And he left himself a putt that wasn't that difficult, but he poured it right in the center. And the reaction was really cool because it gave you the sense that the Ryder Cup wasn't over, and you felt how much it means to the European team. And so it was one of the highlights of the week for me. Again, crushing my best bet with Rory McIlroy winning more points than Shane Lowry, which is still mind-boggling to me.
That's mind-boggling, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, over for Rory, different issue.
We're going to talk
really
about
cool
that.
moment for Shane Lowry.
Really cool moment for Shane Lowry indeed. Jon Rahm and Sergio Garcia in a hard-fought battle against Brooks Koepka and Jordan Spieth get the job done again, 2-1. So the first 2 legs out for the Europeans, they both get the full point. How good is Jon Rahm? I mean, when you need Jon Rahm to make a putt, Greg, he just pours it in the heart. He is so good, not to take anything away from Sergio Garcia, but Jon Rahm is by far the best player on planet Earth.
Yes. And again, I go back to watching Sergio hit some of these iron shots. The one on 9 was so good to a tucked hole location. It was just so good. So I love watching Sergio swing. I love watching him play. But watching Rahm on the greens when you need your horse to come up and give you energy, he does. And it fires him up, and Sergio just shakes his head. How many putts of length has he made? And the other thing is he's been struggling with that coming into this event. In the playoffs, he had at least 2 rounds I can think of where he didn't make a putt over 5 feet. Over 5 feet. And now all of a sudden he's Steph Curry out there making it rain from half court. And he does it regularly. To have that kind of consistency in your long putting when you need it is unreal. And the one at 15, the birdie putt he made at 15 was just, it was sick. It was insane. They should have lost that hole.
He's a freak. Match number 3. This was a good one too. Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau win 3-1 over Tommy Fleetwood and Victor Hovland. And it was punctuated by the Americans winning 14, 15, 16, 17. We saw Scotty Scheffler make a putt that won a hole, and you get the full-on chest bump with Bryson DeChambeau in the air, which I encourage you, Scotty, be careful, take it easy, don't get yourself hurt out there. But this was this is a really interesting team, right? We didn't know what Bryson was going to kind of be in this format. Scotty Scheffler as a rookie, we didn't really know what he was going to be. This was a very impressive run to kind of stop any potential momentum that the European team was gaining with the 2 wins out of the gate.
You didn't know coming into the Ryder Cup who Bryson was going to get paired with. And he was a wild card in that essence. And Scotty Scheffler being a rookie and not having a clear pathway, so to speak, was also a little bit of a wild card. And they paired together. They went with the Dallas National connection, and it seems to really work. And I think it's a great format for him. It's a great format for a rookie to get his feet wet, and it's a great format for Bryson as well. And it allows these guys to freewheel and play off of each other, which they did. But this is a cool match because so many holes were won. Yeah. You had a lot of putts to win holes and a lot of putts made to win holes, and you didn't know what was going to happen. And to see the Americans step up down the stretch, that's something we haven't seen a lot of in the past, in the last decade, at least since 2016, when matches have been tight. The putts that have dropped have been more like what we've seen out of Jon Rahm. It's been the Europeans making the putts, stealing halves, stealing points, and we're left clamoring. And in this one, you see a rookie and Scotty Scheffler pouring it in on 15. That putt was so good and so well needed. And you see the big reaction and the chest bump that you mentioned and all that. And these are that's the kind of memory that will linger with the Americans going forward. And it'll help them in future Ryder Cups as you have this young blood getting a positive first experience. It's great to see. They feel like they can do it. And that's a big change for them.
Match 4, Dustin Johnson and Collin Morikawa dismantle Rory McIlroy and Ian Poulter 4 and 3. We already talked about the DJ Collin Morikawa side. Very impressive. Dustin Johnson has 4 points. Collin Morikawa has 3 in his first Ryder Cup. The story here is Rory McIlroy. Rory McIlroy not only went 0-3, not only got benched, in groups that he was in, won a total of 4 holes, and he did not see the 16th tee, Greg. This was not just kind of like things didn't shake out for Rory. He got beat badly in 3 matches. I know it's not just him, but that is what the story will be when we look back at this Ryder Cup for Rory.
He did not make a birdie today. You get benched. That's one tactic to light a spark. If you're Padraig Harrington, like you were saying earlier, he must have had Rory's blessing. The hope as a coach is you never get a player's blessing to bench him. But when you do bench him, it lights a spark. I remember growing up playing ice hockey. I remember getting benched for the very first time because I was throwing the puck away without looking. And when I got benched, it really changed my mindset, and it worked. And I was so conscious of it for the rest of my illustrious career. I say that jokingly, but it changed things for me because now all of a sudden I'm on the bench because of a mistake that I made. And now I know I can't make it again. I can't do it again. And so for Rory, you get benched as Rory McIlroy on Saturday morning. And that's gotta let it spark. I gotta go crazy here. I gotta do something for my team because I've let my team down. If my team is benching me, I've let them down. And you don't make a single birdie in this format. It's not. I get alternate shot. I get struggles in alternate shot. It can go both ways, and one guy can pull the team down, but not in this format. And you got Ian Poulter making a putt at the very first hole.
Yeah.
DJ sucks the energy out of him, right? But your Ian Poulter's trying his best on a course that doesn't fit him very well, and you're letting him carry you. It was disappointing for Rory. Really disappointing to not make a birdie. It's one thing to lose. It's one thing to get beat, but there wasn't much fight out of Rory today.
11-5. That's where we stand heading into Sunday singles. Via Justin Ray, there's been 4 teams since 1979 to trail entering singles and still win the Ryder Cup. 1993, the U.S. was 1 back. 1995, Europe was 2 back. 1999, U.S. 4 back. 2012, Europe 4 back. Needless to say, I'm no mathematician, but this looks like 6 back to me, Greg. And when you start to do the math, it's only 3.5 points that the United States team needs. It is 9 that Europe needs. And especially with the way we have seen Rory McIlroy play this week, and we don't have the matchups yet. They're not available yet. There's a chance the Americans are favored in 11 matches. Almost certainly 10, maybe 11, depending on who Sergio gets. Jon Rahm might be the only favorite for the Europeans.
It's hard to find the pathway. There's seemingly no hope, right? You just start chipping away at halves. And the other thing is you've had to lean so heavily on Jon Rahm. He's winded. And we've seen great players before. Think about Tommy Fleetwood in 2018 was on fire. I know he had Molinari with him too, but he's 4-0 and just gets smacked in singles because he's gassed. Just absolutely gassed. And you go play 4 intense matches where you're holing all these putts to win holes. And that there's a stress in that. There's a stress in having your back against the wall. And in match play, especially in a Ryder Cup, your back's against the wall all the time. Whether you're winning or losing, you know that momentum shift is right around the corner. So every shot has just that much more focus and energy required, and it's exhausting. And the golf course is a tiring walk. And so now your stars are not only outmatched, but winded, and you need everybody to win. It's a long way up right now, and this could be over by 2 p.m.
I was going to say this could be over very quickly. We could get back to watching football very, very quickly on Sunday, just because of the way. I mean, you know, it's like Rahm's going out first, right? It's going to be. I guess the one question is, the only kind of interesting conversation so far is who do the Americans put out first? Dustin Johnson, who's got you 4 points. Do you stick with the guy who coming into the week was most likely to go out on Sunday first, which was Justin Thomas? Like what it probably doesn't matter, but for the sake of conversation, what's Steve Stricker's play to try to just put the foot on the throat here?
Well, you have options. Again, first of all, you have so much depth. You don't want to give them too much momentum. So you don't completely backload it. For instance, when you're trailing in a Ryder Cup, you front load in singles to try to get your flags on the board early and often. And it inspires the guys who may be outmatched behind, and they start to believe. So you don't want to give them that belief. But at the same time, you don't have to put Justin Thomas out there against Jon Rahm. You could put Scotty Scheffler out there first and give him that flavor, give him that test. It's not that you're giving away a match because he's the 21st ranked player in the world. You're not giving away the match, but you're taking your Dustin Johnsons, your Justin Thomases, your real stars, and you're putting them in a more favorable match. If I only need 3.5 points, I don't need to beat Jon Rahm. I don't need to go out there and throw my heavyweight against Jon Rahm. It can work against you. So you can, in a way, concede that point to Rahm, and then you start putting your heavy hitters in there right behind, and you apply pressure early and often, and you seal the deal in matches 3 through 6. You seal it. So that's what I would do.
You, me, and Jacob could probably play for the Americans tomorrow, and we could still win the Ryder Cup. I'm thinking, right?
Put me against Rahm. That's what I mean. I'm fresh. And yeah, I'll take that out.
I played once this week. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. I played less this summer than Jon Rahm has played this Ryder Cup. I'm ready to go. My legs are fresh.
All right. Well, however it ends up shaking out on Sunday, we will be back to break it all down. It is appearing like it is going to be a coronation for the United States, but in the words of Kevin Garnett, anything is possible. So we will be here on Sunday evening. For now, let me thank producer Jacob, does all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there, it's Greg DuCharme. You can find him on Twitter at TheRealGFD, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut, and we'll catch you next time.